Hey everyone, welcome back. Well, you may remember here about 2 weeks ago, I was working on this 7045 and I had to take and pull the starter off. Like I say, I posted the video taking the starter off. Well, I finally got it back, all rebuilt. And so the place had written on the sticker that they put new brushes, new armature, and some new bearings, all that kind of good stuff inside of it. So no wonder why it was not working very well. Let me take and put you into my official camera holder. There we go. Get my light set up just right. Oh boy, this thing's heavy. Just gotta be careful you don't end up with a smashed finger. Okay, there we go. And it's on. Not sure how well you can see right there. I'm trying to get one of the mounting bolts started to get put in there. It has 3 of them. There we go. Okay, that's got that one going in. But I think I said in the previous video I did on this that when we were trying to start it, I could hear like a high-pitched whine. And so with them having to take and put a new armature and brushes and that kind of stuff all inside of it, no wonder why it was going haywire. So try and get that back bolt there started. Back, come to think of it, I didn't have time to get a video of it, but on the 4955 here just last week, I had to take and put a starter into it also, a rebuild. And those are a real pain because you got to take and, in order to get this back bolt back here in, I had to take the solenoid clear off. And so that was a lot of fun. Kind of snug that one up right there. Maybe there are bolts I thought would line up. Maybe not. And of course it always has to be on the back where you can hardly get to it. And for some reason it's not wanting to spin in there very well. Let me see here if I can get this ratchet on it. Hey, there we go. Tried to find a spot for my dumb light. There we go. We'll get this bolt here spun in. and then I'll try to get the bottom one put in. But usually if I can get the two top ones started, okay, I got just a little bit of play. That lets you get to the bottom one a little bit easier sometimes. Well, I'm going to have to go up underneath this frame rail. Okay, yeah, you probably can't see much from down there. I had to stick my arm up between the frame and the oil pan to get this bottom bolt in. Okay. Well, hey, at least I can get the ratchet onto it, so that does help. Okay, bottom bolts on. Let's go ahead and hit this outside one. There we go, that was tight. And we'll hit that back, finish tightening up the back one. Okay, that's all tightened down. And so we're going to take and jump out here on the end. Get my light dug back out. Okay, there's the battery cable. And there is the alternator cable. In fact, actually, something that I've done on our 4 main tractors, because sometimes I'll hook stuff to them that I need extra power and that kind of stuff. What I'll do, as you can see right here, that alternator wire, that looks to be about like a, I don't know, maybe a 10 gauge, 8, maybe a 10, roughly. What I'll do is I'll take and wrong size wrench on that. Normally these are 3/4. That one's 5/8. But anyway, what I'll do is I'll take and add an additional wire, because this goes up there toward the key. And so what I'll do is I'll just throw on like an additional 10 gauge, either an 8 or a 10 gauge wire, going from this port around the motor up and then hooking onto the big lug on the back of the alternator. That way, if you need to pull additional power, it just increases the amount of amperage that you can throw onto it. Because if you add too much, you can actually end up overloading these little wires. Because like I said, that looks like maybe nothing bigger than an 8 gauge. I'm almost wondering if it might not be a 10. And if I remember right, I think 10 gauge is good for 30 amp. 8 gauge, I think, is good for 40. And 6 gauge, if I remember correctly, is good for approximately 55. And like I say, if you just take and add an additional 10 gauge wire from the battery hookup on the starter, going around and hooking onto the big lug on the back of the alternator, that just increases the amount of amperage load that you can add. Because I did that here a couple years ago on the big combine. I think I showed a video on here. It's been a while back, but I showed a video where I took and set up those giant light bars on the front of the big combine. And surprisingly, for an LED light bar, from everything that I've been able to find, each light bar pulls approximately 30 amp. Because they're an 80,000 lumen light bar, a big quadro that's got 4 rows of lights. And so I've got 2 big ones and I got a smaller one. And if I remember right, that one pulled, I think it was about 12 amp. And so when I was setting all that up, what I did, I took and the combine itself, the alternator wire right here, had, I think it was a 6 gauge. And so what I did was I added 3 additional 8 gauges and a 10 gauge. Well, needless to say, what that did was it gave me enough capacity between the back of the alternator coming around here to this hookup on the combine that I could actually put a 200 amp pole on that and be all right, because I put a big 200 amp alternator on it. And so, but I had to do that for all the additional amperage that I was needing to draw. Okay, that's got the starter mounted and all the wiring is on. That little terminal right there has a little S right beside it. That stands for your sensor. And so that when you turn the key on and hit the button, it throws the power to that, which engages the solenoid, and away you go. So what I'm going to do now, get my light drug around here behind me. There we go. I unhooked the batteries. That way there wasn't a chance of sparks flying. We don't want that. So we'll take and bump that. No sparks flying, which is always a good thing. Yep. 1/2 inch, not 9/16. And I knew the batteries were good when I did this because the date code, where is it? Okay, it's picked out back there. I put these in, it looks like March of 2021. And so I knew the batteries were good. Okay, there's that. I'll say one thing, gear wrenches are sure handy. This here is actually an S-case set that a seed corn company gave us years ago. It's been great. So we'll swing them back up underneath, lock it down, and like I say, I've had the block heater plugged in now for a while, and we're getting good and hot. So I had this 185 plugged in because I need to get this 45 out of the way and hooked onto our fertilizer trailer for the planter. It's still halfway decent warm. It's just fire, it'll be okay. Okay, well, I'll get my electric cord here all wrapped up, and then I'll hop in this 45, and hopefully we're good to go. Set that right there for now. Oh boy. Okay, let's try it. Oh boy, well, it turned over good. That's the problem with an Allis-Chalmers. They're a hard starter. I'm going to have to get a can of ether. Give it a little shot. Thankfully, it's turned out to be a pretty decent day today. Well taken. One thing I forgot to do, I forgot to take and throw the battery charger on these batteries from last time. So I'll take and shoot a little ether right into the ear intake. Now we'll see if that helps. It definitely turned over good. Okay, well, my voltage is getting too low. But hey, you heard it turn over. Like I said, I've got to get the battery charger out. I forgot about doing that. I'm going to get the battery charger out, charge it back up, and then we should be good to go. So hey, take care. Thanks for watching. See you next time.